Okay. Hello everybody, my name is Jamal Malik, and in this video I'd like to talk to you about building efficient and effective sales engines. Okay, so this is most useful for organizations within the tech industry and specifically obviously for business leaders, sales leaders, and even sales managers to an extent. Now, a lot of what we're going to talk about, as I mentioned, is kind of focused on tech companies, but to be honest, can be applicable to, frankly, any industry. Okay, so let's start with figuring out all the elements of a sales engine. And where there's 5 topics that we want to touch on. Okay, number 1 is developing your targets or your budget, revenue goals, things like that. The second is building your sales process or opportunity management process. The third is pipeline management. The fourth is forecast management. And then lastly, account planning. Okay, let's start with building your targets. So if you're an organization and you don't have a revenue target, that's a problem. And you'd be surprised, however, there are a lot of companies out there that don't actually have a hard revenue target. You may ask yourself like, well, I don't know what it should be. It fluctuates year over year. But our strong suggestion is create a revenue target. And if you're wondering what to do year over year, typically the rule of thumb is you want to match your market growth. Okay, so for example, in the tech industry, it's not uncommon to see year over year revenue growth targets increasing by around 15, even 20%. Okay, now once you have that, that'll help you develop your budget, your goals by managers, by product area, and everything else. Not going to go really deep on that right now, but just going to touch on it in terms of what that entails. Okay. The next piece we're going to cover is your sales process or opportunity management process. Now, I can't emphasize enough how this is probably the most important part of building your sales engine. And the reason being is because if you manage your opportunities according to some type of regimented sales process, that gives you the ability to perform pipeline management, forecasting, and basically just kind of pulls the whole sales engine together. Now, again, not going to go really deep on the opportunity management piece, but suffice it to say, it's effectively a mapping of your customer's buying journey and how you think about navigating through that process. We actually did a video a few weeks back specifically on customer buying processes. I'll put that in the link below if you're curious to get some more insights specifically around that. Okay. The next topic we'll cover is pipeline management. And pipeline management effectively is once you have a target, you understand how you're trending against that target, it's figuring out the number of opportunities you need in terms of the ratio or the gap you have to target to be able to achieve your number. So I said a lot, let me kind of break it down. If I'm a seller and I have $1 million budget that I've been assigned, a quota rather, that I've been assigned, and let's say it's mid-year and I've made $500K against that $1 million, that means I still have a $500,000 gap to target. That also means is that if I have pipeline coverage ratios, I should have some multiple of my gap in the opportunities that I'm managing so that statistically speaking, I will, based on my close rates, hit my number. So for example, if my close rates is, let's say 25%, that means I close 1 out of every 4 deals that I'm involved in. That means I need a 4x multiplier or multiple of pipeline that is qualified in the pipeline that I'm managing. Okay, qualified pipeline means that you understand your customer has or can gain access to budget. You're talking or you're engaging directly with the buying authority. You understand the customer's business need. And then lastly, you have some understanding around timelines. So to bring it all together, if you have a multiple of qualified pipeline based on your gap to your quota, that is the most efficient way to make sure, statistically speaking, that you're going to achieve your goal. And that pipeline coverage ratios can be different for every organization, but it should be set not only by product potentially, but also based on the territory or the geography that the seller is in. Okay? The next topic we'll cover on is forecasting. So forecasting is your ability to predict or call what or how much revenue you're going to achieve at a future date. Typically, forecasts are developed at a monthly, quarterly, sometimes even biannually basis. Okay, and the most simplest way to talk about forecast management is to call a number at the beginning of the quarter, which you think you're going to hit by the end of the quarter. You notate that, you document that, and then you wait, obviously, till the end of the quarter to see how close you were to the pin. Now, the goal is to call a number and then hit that number as precisely as possible at the end of the quarter, the month, end of year, what have you, and doing that consistently. Forecast management, or having a strong forecast capability in a sales organization, is the number one indication of a healthy sales business. Again, I'm not going to go really deep on this right now. We'll create future videos specifically on this topic, but suffice it to say, that's ultimately what forecasting consists of. The last piece which I'll talk about is account planning. Now, account planning may or may not be useful for the business or the segment, or maybe even the slice of the customers maybe you work with. However, I will say, if you're an enterprise customer and you don't have a strong account planning process, that will be the number one indicator of your ability to have a strategic relationship with that customer. I cannot emphasize this enough. Account planning is probably one of the most important aspects of your sales process as it relates to your ability to have a strategic relationship and discussion with your customers. Okay, and basically account planning is very simple. There's all kinds of ways to do it. I may even put some templates in the video below for you to check out, but effectively it's understanding your customers' goals and the outcomes they're trying to drive, and ultimately how you're going to help them kind of get there. Okay, so let's kind of put this all together. Okay, I know I shared a lot, but I feel it's important to kind of talk about at a high level what a sales engine should consist of. So we talked about having hard targets. We talked about having an opportunity management or sales process, obviously, pipeline management goals, coverage goals, the ability to forecast well, which all actually ties back to your ability to follow a regimented sales process, and then lastly, the ability to do account planning. Now, if you're able to put all these elements together, the beautiful thing is you can build a sales engine that's pretty much self-driven. Okay, and when you have a strong and healthy sales engine, you'll have improved business predictability. You'll have the ability to not only achieve your quota and your quarterly, monthly, even yearly targets a lot more confidently, but you can also then ride out changes that are happening in the market, strategy, competition, you name it. It's one of the best investments you as a business leader can make in terms of improving long-term sustainability and business predictability for your organization. I hope you found this video useful. As I mentioned before, we're going to dive deep on each 5 of those topics in future videos, and we hope you found this useful. Thanks for your time. Take care and happy hunting.